I got a big envelope recently from a charity that I have given money to in the past. And after I opened the envelope, I think I'll probably never give them money again. It's because what was in the envelope said, as a thank you to our donors, here's a wall hanging with our name on it. Here's a tote bag with our name on it. Here's a monogrammed box cutter. That'll actually come in handy. Here's a notepad. Here's some socks. And I thought, if this is how you spend the donations that your donors give, I don't know if I can trust you with future donations. Makes sense, doesn't it? It's what the gospel's talking about. And I don't want to sound too grouchy, because after all, I too am the leader of a nonprofit. And I too ask people to help support us. And I can understand why you want to thank your donors. It's very important. But if we're not responsible in small ways, it's hard to trust us in bigger ways. And if we waste people's donations on frivolous things, it's hard to know if we'll be trustworthy with important things. I wind up thinking about this quite a bit. Like when we put those flat screens in the vestibule, that was a very tender thing, I think. I was thinking to myself, we're going to need to prove the value of these screens right away. Because it would be easy to come in and go, oh, what a waste of money. So I thought, it's really important that people see right away, this is such a great way to welcome visitors. This is such a great way to put the most important messages right in people's consciousness as they come in. This is a great way, if a parent has a child that can't be soothed, to know that if they go out there, they can watch the Mass live streamed from inside the church. All of those things need to show that there's value to this. Because if it's just for show, or to have something flashy, then how can you trust how the other money is spent? The prophet Amos goes right to that issue in the first reading. He says, there are so many poor people in the world, and it's so important to care about that. They are asking for our care, and God is asking for us to care. And he says something pretty strong. He says, if you ever choose yourself over the poor, if you ever choose to make a little more profit at their expense, it goes on your permanent record. That's what he says. It'll be on your permanent record. That gets noted in heaven. You don't want that on your record, he says. Make sure you don't let the sideshow run away with the circus. It's interesting the point he makes, because it feels like that point endures. I don't know if you ever use the voice commands on your computer. Like a lot of us will, instead of typing something in Google, we'll use our voice. And so I was doing that preparing for this homily. And at one point I said, the prophet Amos, and up popped the word prophet, P-R-O-F-I-T. And I said, no, the Amos from the Hebrew prophets. And it said, oh, got it, P-R-O-F-I-T-S. I think his point is well made. We don't want to hear the truth of the prophets. The computer knows that's not what people are interested in. We're interested in prophets, in our wallets. And Amos goes, that's a serious problem. That means that we've lost the thread, that we're not paying attention to what matters to God. If I can't get my computer to know that when I say prophet, I might mean a wisdom teacher from the Bible, then there's a good chance that we are no longer on the right track. The way Jesus says it is, you can only have one master. Is it going to be God? We can only have one master. He says you can't be devoted to two masters at the same time. There has to be one commander-in-chief. And so he says, are you going to care about eternal things, or are you going to care about earthly things? It's a choice that needs to be made, he says. It's important that we focus on what is eternal and not on what is earthly. And sometimes we need to remember that what we're sometimes thinking about is not what really matters. Humans sometimes care about things that can't possibly matter to God. And some of them are innocuous, they're not bad. Like, humans get really excited if we can get a little white ball into a little tiny hole in some green grass. We get so excited about that. And it doesn't really matter. It's fun, but it's not important. Human beings get really excited over the little symbols we sometimes put on our clothes. Mine has an alligator, we might say. Oh, you think that's good? Mine has a horse on it. And someone might say, well, I have what I thought was a pig. It's actually a sheep in a little ribbon. I didn't know that at first. And we decide which is the nicest little symbol to have on our clothes, which one shows that you've got the best taste. Only humans care about that. That is not going on anyone's permanent record in heaven. It doesn't matter. It's just silly. It's just frivolous. And it's not bad in itself, but Jesus would say, that's what we call mammon. And mammon just means things that are earthly and not eternal. They're not necessarily bad in themselves. A lot of them bring us a lot of enjoyment, like soft ice cream. But it can't be a priority. It's just not a priority. What is eternal, what is going to last throughout our lives and beyond our lives, that's what should be a priority. That's what matters the most. And sometimes we have to find a way to determine, this thing that I'm experiencing, is it eternal or is it mammon? Discerning that can be a little hard. One thing that helps us to understand how to do this is to think about the last time that you got a compliment. Hopefully it's not too long ago. All of us enjoy compliments and all of us are built up by people's affirmations. But when's the last time somebody said to you, who made this? This is delicious. And you say, oh, it's me. Or you did something at work and someone said, that was a brilliant presentation. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. You did a great job on this or that. Whatever it is. See if you can feel that feeling one more time. See if you can remember what it felt like to be praised like that. Okay? Then put that aside for a second and try to remember the last time you were driving over the bridge to South Glens Falls and you weren't sure what you were looking at first, but all of a sudden you realized right behind Finch Prime was the biggest full moon low in the sky, glowing and gigantic, and you saw it and you went, or a time that you were at Lake George and all of a sudden the sky turned purple or pink or orange or a combination. Or you happened to be looking in a direction and an eagle flew by and then perched on something. Or you thought what you saw in your peripheral vision was a rock, but it turns out it was a heron. And it takes off with its giant wings. That feeling of, it's different than the feeling of a compliment. A compliment feels nice, but it doesn't contain any awe. When we experience something eternal, something connected to God's work, it fills us with awe. It might be a quick little experience of it, like a full moon. You see it, you breathe in, and then you move on. But those are the things that help us to know we're experiencing something that really matters. They say that you can tell the difference also when you feel the difference between wanting something and yearning for it. If the Apple Store comes out with something new, we might want it. If something gets advertised in a really slick way, we might want it. But you can't yearn for stuff like that. The stuff we yearn for comes from a deeper place. And that's coming from the soul. Our soul yearns for eternal things, while our personality, our ego, it wants mammon. And mammon isn't bad in itself. As one author says, it makes a pretty good servant, just a terrible master. So this week we're being asked, can I tell the difference between wanting and yearning? Can I tell the difference between awe and satisfaction? It is said that inside of all of us, there's a God-shaped hole, and only God can fill it. You can pile a whole bunch of mammon in there, but it won't feel good because it's not a mammon-shaped hole. It's a hole the shape of God.